ISSC M22 pistol. It's an Austrian-made Glock 19 look-alike, and except it's in 22 caliber. Pretty cool. The main visible differences between this and a real Glock are the decocker, which is activated on either side, so it's ambidextrous, and an external hammer. Some additional features for this particular model is the rail-mounted the accessory rail on the front. It has a trigger safety, so you can lock it out, and using this little tool right here will allow you to disengage the trigger so no one can use it. And it has an adjustable rear sight for windage and replaceable front sights for elevation. And for me, when I sighted this gun in, it was off to the side, and this is how far I had to adjust it for my eyes to get it to hit where I wanted it to hit. The front sight's not all that impressive. It uses these little replacement sights, and all it is it looks like a little friction clip that snaps into the slide. So you would have to take the slide off and stick this in there. And be honest with you, the one that was supposed to be in the gun when I got it, one of these little friction clips right here was broke. So yeah, one down already. But the elevation seems to be good for me. It was only the windage that was off. I purchased this gun for about $250, including my FFL fees and shipping, and I actually picked up an extra magazine as well. It came with a free Target Sports laser for the accessory rail. I haven't really tried that out. It does work, but as far as holding zero and such, I don't really know. I went ahead and took my inexpensive, cheesy rail-mounted light and screwed it onto the rail. And be careful not to over torque it, such as I did, because when I did, it squeezed the plastic frame right here and squished the barrel or the slide so that I couldn't rack the slide. So you had to back out on that screw a little bit. Plus, with the curvature of the trigger guard here, my rail-mounted light didn't fit properly as well. That could have had something to do with me over torquing it, trying to get it to stay tight. But disassembly for this gun is pretty simple. Comes apart just like a Glock. Well, for the most part like a Glock, and a P22 is what it reminds me of as well. You pull down on the two levers on both sides, and while pulling down you pull back on the slide and up, just like on the P22, and then let the slide off the end. The barrel itself is mounted to the frame, so there's no rotation, no movement, so it should give a pretty good accuracy for the gun itself. The gun does have a magazine safety, meaning that you cannot fire the gun unless there's a magazine in it, and I believe the safety activator is right up in the slide, right up in here, or right up in the frame. This looks like this part of the magazine is what engages that so that you can shoot the gun. The trigger I'm not impressed with the trigger. I don't know how to say it nicely. After shooting about 200 rounds during my lunch hour today, my finger was quite sore from this trigger, and it could be, you know, just this Glock style design, because to be honest with you, I don't shoot Glocks very often, and so I'm not that impressed with the trigger on this thing. It made my hand sore. Also, with my grip, after shooting a couple hundred rounds in this, it left some red marks right here on my hand. You can actually still see that a little bit. And I was thinking there for a little while that it was actually giving me hammer bite. And hammer bite's an old term that you get from shooting the 1911s with a government beaver tail. Now we have the real fancy beaver tails that kind of alleviate the hammer bite, but it's when the hammer comes back upon cocking and pinches the web of your hand back here. It never really pinched my hand, but it was banging me right in here. I'll try to insert a picture there if I can. But it wasn't too painful, but I definitely noticed it. Something was going on and made me look at it. Reassembly of the gun is fairly simple. You just take your spring, put it over the barrel like so, put your slide on top, make sure your spring does not stick out around that hole at all. Otherwise your barrel will not fit through the hole. See how that's not allowing the barrel to go through? So it can be somewhat of a trick to just get that to line up for you. But it's real simple. There it went. So once you get it in there, hold those 2 pins down just like on the Glock. Pull the slide back, lay it down flat, and then it should go straight forward. There we go. So there we are. As I mentioned before, you cannot shoot it unless there's a magazine in there. But notice the hammer. Maybe it has to do with the recoil, but it does fly back like that when I'm shooting it. But it could be my grip as well. Plus, not to mention the trigger itself rubbing my finger. I got some snap taps here. I tested it on my my trigger scale, and it comes to about 6.5 pounds. Not super light, not super bad, but there's a lot of take up for the trigger, and it's kind of creepy. I mean, I think you could probably hear that. The reset, kind of long. There, no, hadn't reset yet. Yeah, there it went. But the trigger is a little creepy. And to be honest with you, I couldn't shoot that well with it, but it could have been the blocky sights. I mean, these are really blocky sights. This thing here is at least a couple of millimeters wide. I mean, that's a hard target to shoot fine with. I used 4 different types of ammo, and one of them was standard velocity, and the gun did not like it. I mean, it didn't cycle almost 90% of the time. So I only ran about a magazine through that. But the others all cycled. My cheap Remington ammo that I bought at the big box store, the most that I had plentiful of, had a few misfires, and the primer seemed very dented. I mean, it was a nice dent, so I don't understand it. It was probably just my ammo, yet I haven't had that trouble in other 22s. But accuracy, I shot at these targets you're seeing. I shot at 15 yards with no rest, freestyle, so I was using 2 hands and just, you know, in an indoor range, trying my best to hold my groups. And the targets you're seeing are after I made my adjustments to the rear sight, where it's almost all the way over to the side there. It felt the best with the CCI, but to be honest with you, this last target I'm about to show you here is 20 rounds that I shot with the cheap Remington ammo, and that seemed to do pretty well. But I think as the gun breaks in, it'll probably be a little bit more accurate, a little bit better feel in my hand. But to be honest with you, the 2 things that I just don't care about for this gun are the external hammer and the decocker. And the main thing is, if you're going to the range and going to shoot this gun, then this is probably a good gun for you if you like the Glock. But in my case, I want to put a round in the chamber, and I want to walk around in a holster in the field and use it when I need it. But you have to put a loaded round in the chamber with magazine in, and you're hot. Basically, the gun will go off if you pull the trigger. So you use the safety / decocker, put that down. Now you're on safe and the hammer falls. There's a block that turns so the firing pin doesn't get hit. So how do you shoot the gun? Well, the trigger doesn't work. Put it on fire. Hammer doesn't cock, because most double action guns, once you take the decocker off, the hammer's going to come back. It's going to have an extremely long trigger pull. Hammer comes back and the gun fires. This one here, no. You have to manually cock the hammer. So if you're walking around hot with this gun, you can have it on safety, take your decocker off. You want to shoot the gun, you need to draw it, you need to cock it just like a single action revolver, and then go to town. And to tell you the truth, that is a deal breaker for me. I don't like that. If I want to cock my hammer myself, I'm going to carry a single action cowboy gun. So this one's probably going to go up for sale not too long after I post this video. But all in all, as a range gun, it's alright. It doesn't have the accuracy I would hope for, but like I said, it could be those blocky sights. Please subscribe for more gun reviews and shooting videos.